It's not my opinion. That's what David Pecker testified to, correct? That's what Michael Cohen testified to. That's what Stormy Daniels testified to. And that's what Hope Hicks testified to, correct?
That's what they testified.
They testified that he was attempting to influence an election. Cool. In the statute you read, falsification of business records becomes a felony if you are attempting to influence an election. His names are on the checks. He can't say he didn't know about it because David Pecker testified that he set it up with him. In that instance, how did he not commit the crime? These guys would be trash at Clue. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not good.
What are your thoughts on the felonies?
Yeah. On the felonies, I think it was just a trumped up charge, no pun.
What made it trumped up?
Well, you have, let's see, 175.05 New York penal law, right? Misdemeanor. Bookkeeping error, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it goes up to a Class C felony in the state of New York when it's in the
175.10. Right. Yeah. So when you move that up to a Class C felony, right? What moved it up to the Class C felony?
Predicate crimes.
Predicate crimes, right? What were they listed as?
So one had to do with tax fraud, the other one had to do with election interference, and the other one had to do with FEC violation.
Right. So the two of the latter are federal crimes. Right, FEC when they looked at it, what did they do?
It doesn't matter though.
Well, it does, right?
The FEC is not a police enforcement agency. They did not refer.
No, they're not. But it's a federal election, right? So I mean, you're talking about 10th Amendment, right? You're talking about federalism, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The jury with a predicate crime gets to determine what the criminality is, right?
Sure. So when you give something to a jury,
did this person commit a crime? They may have to assume or assess as to whether or not someone intended to commit a crime.
Right. So
as part of their judgment.
So the question here is, was this intent, right? Because this was a total garbage deal. If you watch the whole trial, right? Mershon's just insane, right?
Yeah.
How he was. Why?
I thought he was pretty fair.
Why?
He's incredible.
I think he wouldn't be a maniac and insane partisan if he didn't raise the fact that there was an alleged juror conspiracy, which is proven not be true, but that wouldn't be the case. He wouldn't dismiss jurors who were particularly biased against Donald Trump, and he wouldn't have heard the side of Donald Trump's side of jury selection.
Well, I mean, the jury, they do what they're told through instructions. The jury did a great job. I'm not worried about what the jury did. It's how they were handled. And so if you start in the very beginning with Mershon, how do you have a judge that actually donates to a Stop Republicans or to a Biden campaign?
Well, that
wasn't a Biden campaign.
That doesn't show impropriety. He already had this reviewed, by the way. He asked for it to go to an ethics board, and they cleared him of it. They said that $30 was not enough to make him, But again, nobody wants to focus on the actual crimes. Everybody wants to focus on the people involved in them.
I think I did. I gave you the penal law.
Judge.
Well, yeah,
you're talking about the predicate crimes, which is very clearly in here saying, well, it's a federal crime. It doesn't matter, right? If someone burglarizes a federal building,
you listed 3 predicate crimes, right?
Right.
So the jury,
if they are federal crimes, it doesn't matter if they're federal crimes or not. It just matters that the person had criminal intent to commit a crime.
And do you think that on appeal, that giving them 3 crimes to choose from instead of getting a unanimous verdict on one, right?
There are hundreds of thousands. This has already been ruled on by the Supreme Court, and there's hundreds of thousands of cases that involve these very sets of legal rules, which is if you commit a crime and there is an aggravating predicate crime or there's multiple ones, the jury does not have to come to a conclusive determination about what that crime was. And if we allowed that to happen, it would be insanity. Defense attorneys would not have to be like, oh, well, this is I'm going to argue that this person committed burglary. No, they're going to argue to try and confuse the shit out of the jury about what this person intended to do when they were in there. That doesn't make any sense. The person had criminal intent to commit a predicate crime. What that crime is, who knows? And they were attempting to conceal it. This has already been ruled on by the Supreme Court.
So you think, right, and this, in your opinion, that not allowing the defense to argue against those 3 predicate crimes, which they were not told what those were during the trial.
No, they were. No,
they were not.
Yes, they were.
No, they did not come out until closing statements.
Yes, they absolutely were.
They absolutely did not.
No, it was not. Those were listed in paperwork to Donald Trump months ago. Like over a year ago. Yes. Yes, they were.
Trial.
What he was alleged to have done was brought up before. And yes, they did bring these up during the trial. They did bring up the predicate crimes and the reasons that he attempted to conceal them. They talked about election interference. They talked about election interference, which is why they had David Pecker there and Hope Hicks. And then they talked about the potential. They didn't focus on this one at all, but they talked about the potential for tax fraud or for him concealing a payment. They don't have to be unanimous about why they were doing it.
Did you read the indictment?
It's outlined in there.
No, the indictment. There were 34 charges. They're all the same thing.
Yes. The predicate crime, right. They list out what he did.
Not one indictment in charge had any of the predicate crimes listed.
I'm gonna explain it to you how this works. Okay.
You don't have
to. Difference between I do. Well, do you know what the difference between burglary and trespassing is?
Well, you're leaving with something when you burglarize something, and trespassing is being on somebody else's property.
No, it's the same thing, same exact concept as Donald Trump. Burglary is, so trespassing is being somewhere you shouldn't be. Burglary is being somewhere you shouldn't be with the purpose, the intent to commit a crime therein. Okay. If someone goes into a house and they bring a knife and they bring duct tape, but they also bring a bag and they're rummaging through stuff, they're kicking on doors, the juries can infer one of two things. One, that this person is either robbing the place, or two, that this person is planning to do awful things to the people inside. They don't have to determine which that is. In this instance, same deal. It's the same exact thing, because it would be absurd for a defense attorney to go, oh, okay, well, they don't know which crime he was intending to commit while he was in there. They don't need to know. They just know that he had criminal intent to commit a crime. They know it's burglary because they know he was there with criminal intent. Donald Trump, they know that it's falsification of business records in the first degree because he was attempting to conceal a crime. The jury doesn't need to come to a conclusion about what crime that he was attempting to conceal, just that was the reason he did it.
However, to make 175.05 a felony, right, after the statute of limitations had already passed, which is what they were trying to do to move up the ladder, right, to be able to get a 5-year statute of limitations, which I still find rather comical, because if the bookkeeping errors happened in 2017 and you charge them in 2023,
it's tolling.
You've done, what's that?
It's called tolling. Donald Trump moved out of the state.
No. Okay, so you need to read that whole statute there on the tolling,
I have
right?
I have read the statute. It's 3010.
So then what you might want to do is look where
they... New York. Yeah, I've read it. It's New York 3010.
They're hard. You can't find them, right?
Yes,
you're telling me that you can't find where the president is? It's not just being out of state.
No. It just says that you have to be, it just says that you have to be out of the state, and it tolls.
No.
I read the statute. It's New York Criminal Code 3010. Yes, I've read it.
Go read it.
I know what it is.
It's if you can't find the person. There's a nice little semicolon in there.
No, it talks about if the person is out of the state, that you can toll up to 5 years.
Okay,
I know
so
what it is.
For 5 years.
Yes, the same thing. And even if that was the case, which it's not, and it doesn't make any sense that it would be, oh, well, we know that this person's there, but that doesn't make any sense. It's called tolling, but it was tolled throughout the pandemic. This was resolved in multiple different court cases. There was a almost 300-day period of tolling, and Donald Trump moved out of the state. So no, this is normal. This is how criminal cases work.
All right. So I'm gonna help you out here a little bit. In New York, statute of limitations for criminal charges can be tolled or suspended in certain circumstances. Tolling can occur when A, a defendant has been out of the state during the statute of limitations period. B, a defendant's whereabouts are unknown. And C, a defendant tries to evade arrest.
Okay, well, we got him on A.
You got him on A. So hold on. You're going to tell me, and this is going to be fun, is that a defendant has been out of the state, right? How many times did Trump go back to
the first one again? Just literally read the first one again.
What was the first one? And by the way, it's talking about defendant being unknown in terms of like he's not in incarceration.
Whereabouts are unknown.
Right. They're talking about They're talking about him being incarcerated. They're talking about him being incarcerated in another state. Yes.
Well, I would think somebody would be
right. His whereabouts. So I don't know if you know this. Throughout most of Donald Trump's things, his whereabouts to the state of New York are unknown. But yes, they already have him. That's called tolling.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be a lawyer.
I do not think. You don't think that this was already brought up in court? That this was already brought up to appeals? That it was denied? Because it was.
Do I think that the statute of limitations garbage is part of what's going to go up to the appeals in the New York State? Absolutely.
Again,
we've explained why, and you just read why.
Focuses. Nobody ever focuses.
This case has not been sent to appeals yet. So first of all, what they
tried numerous different times.
Pre-trial motion. Right. They had pre-trial motion. However, There are going to be other things that are viable in this case when it goes to appeal.
I know. Listen, man. I know. Listen, I've heard it all before. He's going to listen. He lost the E. Jean Carroll appeal, even though you guys said he wouldn't. You said he wouldn't lose the E. Jean Carroll case.
I didn't say anything about E. Jean Carroll.
Your entire party said this. You said he wouldn't lose the E. Jean Carroll appeals. He wouldn't lose the E. Jean Carroll cases. He wouldn't lose the fraud cases. He wouldn't lose the appeals, which he is in that case. You said that he wouldn't be indicted. You guys said that he wouldn't be convicted. And here we are. You're saying now again, oh my God, it's going to go off to the appeal system, even though you complain about there being complete and utter fraud within our justice system. Somehow you think he's going to get a fair trial, even though you claim that he's not. It doesn't make any sense. Donald Trump is not going to beat this appeal, at least for the reasons that you've listed. There are legal questions. None of the ones that you have brought up are those legal questions.
So do you have a way to put me on some type of a tracker or something? Because I'm absolutely going to lay down $100 bet with you that he wins on appeal.
Okay. I know you guys. You know how many people?
You know how much money is owed to us, like cumulatively?
Yeah,
somewhere in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, it's lost.
Okay, it's not my fault that you bet losers. Right? That's not on me.
I think that's going to be what happens here. Is you're going to lose, and then the goalpost is going to shift.
No, I don't need to shift anything. So Trump wins on appeal or he doesn't. $100. What goalpost needs to be shifted?
I can't make the bet with you, but even if I could,
how about this? I'll find you.
You guys think that?
Just listen, follow
I have
us.
I have no faith you're going to pay me. Listen. I have no faith you're going to pay me. I don't even want to entertain it because I've never been
even know me.
I think we've had one person pay us because before it was on TikTok and Twitch, when I could do this, I had him going almost every day.
And he was a Canadian, so it took a bit out.
Yeah.
So
I ended up with like, you owe me $100 you paid through TikTok, and I got like $30, I think, because of the transfer fees and the he paid in Canadian. So it was less money.
So far, you've lumped me in with something I didn't say about E. Jean Carroll. Now you're going to lump me in with somebody that didn't pay.
I know.
We're just saying the odds of us being paid are pretty slim.
And
why?
Don't even want to entertain.
Do you know me?
No, I don't. Based on the odds.
Well, then you don't have any odds because you don't know me.
Yeah, the odds of Republicans not saying bets that they've lost are pretty high for us.
I have made hundreds and been paid once. So yes, I'm going to lump you in with that.
Okay.
In fact, I made one the other day.
Not with me. But anyway,
I know.
So you're just going to continue to insult me over something I didn't do. That's fine.
This isn't an insult. But what grounds does he have to appeal, anyways? A winnable appeal.
A winnable appeal?
Yes.
I'd say there are probably about 5 reversible errors that happened during the case of that.
So it's not predicate crime. It's not the predicate crime because this is well established. What's the reasons it would be overturned?
So the first one that I would use on reversible error is the actual instruction as to what they were going to allow if Trump decided that he wanted to testify. And if you've seen the instructions that Merchan was going to allow into, right, it's very similar to the Weinstein case.
I'm so sorry. What is
all kinds of crap?
No, in the Weinstein case, it had to do with what's called
2 women, right?
Or a New
who were
York,
not a part of that case. 2 women that hadn't been raped who came in during a rape trial.
Can you not stop? Can you please not use that in my life? Thanks. That has nothing to do with this case. The question with what's called the question is called a Molinoy ruling. It's a 404 is the federal one, and New York is called a Molinoy ruling. That doesn't have anything to do with here. It's a thing that you put forward that says, I want this evidence that is technically unrelated to the case to be introduced because it goes to establish state of mind. That doesn't apply here.
All right. So you asked me a question, and I told you the very first reversible error that I saw on this was Merchan allowing testimony that was going to be outside of the scope of what this trial was.
What testimony?
What does that mean? Where?
From who?
Do I have to go pull up Merchan's instructions in the beginning before the trial?
I have it before me here.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about in terms of
outside testimony. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I saved this link. This conversation is not the first time I've had it. What do I do with it?
It's okay. I got it in front of me too.
Okay, so you see the instructions as to where he was going to allow things that were not relevant to this trial. All right, Merchan ruled if Trump testifies, prosecutors can ask him about fines he received for violating a gag order in the business fraud case in which he verbally attacked a law clerk of the judge overseeing that case.
I'm sorry, really quick. Wait. What does this have to do with?
Reversible error.
No, I'm asking you, what did Merchan do?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll slow down. Merchan ruled that if Trump testified, prosecutors can ask him about fines he received for violating a gag order in the business fraud case when he verbally attacked the law clerk of the judge overseeing that case. which has nothing to do with bookkeeping. All right. So
I'm sorry.
Do you understand why that matters?
Why?
Which section is this actually in his?
Where's this at?
Because I don't see this.
What section?
All right. So this is you want the Politico article?
Well, no, I would rather the direct source as to where it says this in his instructions.
I'll take the Politico, and then you can tell Jaden where it is.
Okay.
So on the Politico, I'll just give you kind of the headline. It says, if Trump testifies, prosecutors can grill him about his recent losses. And it was written by Ben Furherd, 4/22/2024. And it goes into Merchan's instructions. Now, the reason that it matters, right? And I'm not for Trump in this case. I mean, he put himself there. My issue is with Merchan. And so with Merchan allowing testimony that goes to things that have nothing to do with bookkeeping, that's one reversible error. And I'm not going to go through 15 more of these things.
I just want to point out that what?
Right, which has nothing to do with the case at hand.
Right. So if Donald Trump, like this is what you're not getting. If that was the case and Donald Trump testified, then that would be reversible error. I don't know that him not testifying to that and that being a point of contention is reversible error.
The reason
I'm reading over the reason and the justifications. That's not why Donald Trump didn't testify. That's not why Donald Trump didn't testify. Yeah, in the fact that you believe that's wild. No, that's not why Donald Trump didn't testify.
That's what's going to be argued.
Oh yeah, no. This is fine. I don't know where you're getting off on this. Prosecutors will be allowed to elicit testimony about Trump being found liable for fraudulently inflating his business assets in a suit. Yeah, that's totally fine. He was already found to have done that.
What does that have to do with this case? That's a prior.
The fact that he continues.
Right?
Yes,
you're looking
to show bias. Right. No, it's not bias. It goes to show what you've previously done.
Prior bad acts of something else, right? So anyway, you asked me a question. It's
prior bad acts that he's been convicted of. Like, so I don't know. You want me to bring a lawyer up to like Katie can come up and explain it.
You asked me a question.
Katie's gonna know 404 better than I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have somebody that has law experience in New York,
no, it's the same rule. Same exact rule. Hey guys, if you are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, you guys can become a YouTube member on this channel, or preferably join the Patreon in the link tree in the bio. Also in the link tree is my TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and the OK Hi YouTube, which I post news to on a regular basis. Enjoy the rest of the show.
And no, I think Trump put himself in a really horrible spot by running his mouth. I don't know why he beat up on that judge before he had to go sit in front of him, but I don't think that trial at all was something that I'm proud of to say I watched as an American.
Why? He broke the law. Like, you guys are trying to get him off on a technicality.
I'm not trying to get him off on a technicality.
It's obvious. Right? It's obvious that he broke the law, dude. Like, it's completely obvious. This aside, it's obvious that he broke the law. He was never going to testify, ever. Was never going to do it. His lawyers were never going to let him testify because he's unhinged.
Yeah, but that's why you have somebody argue that case, right? You have an opinion of it. I have an opinion of it. They're not, maybe they're not, copacetic. They're not parallel. They're a little more perpendicular, right? That's fine. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump hater. I am just disappointed in what I saw. So, and the thing, like,
what did you see? David Pecker testified that there was a catch and kill. Hope Hicks testified that Donald Trump did nothing happened without Donald Trump's sign off. Michael Cohen testified to the information that was verified in both the business records and on audio recording. There was evidence released that Donald Trump said that he knew about it. He said it was a reimbursement. On Twitter, there was evidence showed that it was reimbursement multiple different times. Michael Cohen, it doesn't make any sense that he would take out $300,000 to pay off people for no reason on the hopes that Donald Trump would pay you back.
So here's where I get a little bit confused, right? So you have your version of that, right? I'm going to read you something out of AP News. The Clinton campaign hired Perkins Coie, which then hired Fusion GPS research intelligence firm to conduct opposition research on Republican candidate Donald Trump's ties to Russia. But on FEC forms, the Clinton campaign classified the spending as legal services. By intentionally obscuring their payments, hold on, I'll finish. It's just one paragraph. Through Perkins Coie, right? Failing to publicly disclose the true purpose of those payments, the campaign and DNC were able to avoid publicly reporting on the statutorily required FEC disclosure forms that the fact that they were paying Fusion GPS to perform opposition research on Trump with the intent of influencing the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. And then the FEC fines, it was $130,000 or $110,000. I forget what the actual fine was.
Right.
So that would be the misdemeanor part. Because it's not in concealment of an underlying predicate crime.
But it's also right. It's not. They're not concealing another crime. And what is interesting is that the Clinton campaign actually paid it not because they thought they were wrong. They believed that the classification was correct. They paid it because it was more expensive for them to fight it than to just pay the fine.
So the question here for me is, right, if that was, it was basically identical.
But what you're saying is like, it would be like, if Donald Trump, right? It would be like if Donald Trump, like what you're comparing this, what would be the comparison? It would be like Donald Trump falsifying business records, which would make it a misdemeanor.
That's what he was charged
But Donald
with.
Trump had criminal intent to conceal it. The Clinton campaign believes that they were right, that they classified it correctly. That's not criminal intent.
By trying to influence an election?
They're claiming no, we believe to have followed the law.
So, well, money laundering is never going to be following the law.
You're allowed to do opposition research. Theirs is a misclassification. Of course, opposition research is meant to influence an election. Donald Trump, right? One of the aggravating factors is that he tried to influence an election. He made an illegal payment and then covered it up to try and influence an election. Hillary Clinton classified a payment that is completely legal wrong, or at least the FEC alleges, and they paid it.
Well, what did Trump classify his spending as?
He classified it as
legal services.
It was a I don't know. No, he didn't. It wasn't that.
I'm telling you, literally, legal services.
I don't think it was classified as legal services.
It was absolutely
classified. That it was classified. No,
he paid Michael Cohen.
I think he claimed that it was classified as legal services, but it went through campaign spend.
Okay, so
I'd have to look. I don't know what they classified it as, but it doesn't matter because he falsified records to try and conceal a crime, to try and influence an election
by listing the payments to Michael Cohen as legal services. That was the trial.
I don't know. No, it was for a reimbursement. Donald Trump was claiming that it was reimbursed, or Donald Trump was claiming that it was for a retainer. Donald Trump is claiming that it was for a retainer. I don't know what it was originally classified for under. I'd have to think about it. I can't remember.
No, you don't have to. It was, he paid his attorney as legal services. What Cohen did with the money was his own choice because Cohen actually went out and borrowed money. He got a home equity line of credit to go pay Stormy. It wasn't even Trump's money.
Okay, that's all right. But it was classified in the campaign. That's the problem. I don't understand what you're getting at.
Well, what I'm saying is, we had talked about an FEC violation, right? Because that might be one of the predicate crimes. Well, it wasn't a crime. You yourself just said they just mislabeled it.
Wasn't a crime? No, it was a crime because Michael Cohen's LLC couldn't legally make the payment. It couldn't make campaigns, so what's called a non-monetary campaign contribution. Michael Cohen's LLC that he set up to pay Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels couldn't legally make that payment.
Okay, so the Karen McDougal thing, right? He didn't pay Karen McDougal. He paid Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels, he paid $130,000 on a non-disclosure agreement, which is 100% legal.
So it is perfect. If he had paid her, okay? I think he classified it as a business. If he had paid her through his own organization, no problems, none whatsoever.
Okay. Trump
but he
never
didn't.
paid
he
Stormy.
Paid her he paid Michael Cohen that paid Stormy. He did it at Michael Cohen's behest, or Michael Cohen did it at Donald Trump's behest.
Okay, so there's a little bit of tongue tying that goes on here because Michael Cohen took the money out, lied on a federal form. That's why he went to prison, and he had tax evasion laws. He had some other things that went on. He lessened his sentence because he pled guilty so he could implicate what the hell did they call Donald Trump? Something individual one, right? So when he went for sentencing, the Department of Justice, as they typically do, they coerced his ass into trying to put Trump in.
I'm so confused. In what way did Donald Trump not break the law? Even if he didn't make an illegal campaign contribution, even if he didn't violate an FEC law, he absolutely tried to influence an election. 100%.
Well, okay.
This was brought up by David Pecker. This is brought up by Hope Hicks. This is confirmed by Michael Cohen. This is talked about at the court case ad nauseum. So I don't understand what your argument is here. You want to hyper focus on that. There's plenty of different things that Donald Trump did that aggravated this to a felony count.
So if you take a look at the charge, right? You read the indictment. It's a bookkeeping. It's a ledger. It's whatever you want to call it, right?
It's not a bookkeeping thing. He purposefully lied. He made a payment, tried to conceal it, purposefully lied.
You need to read the indictment, right? The indictment is what he went to trial for. In the indictment, it's a bookkeeping violation, and the bookkeeping violation happened in 2017.
He committed.
Oh boy.
He talked with David Pecker to set up the catch and kill,
which is not legal. It's not illegal.
It's not. But how he did it is Michael Cohen paid off Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, and they did that through a LLC that was not registered to make payments, campaign contributions. And then Donald Trump attempted to conceal it by hiding that within his campaign.
Okay.
If he had paid for it out of his own pocket, not illegal, but he covered it up. That's what made it illegal. And he did it to try and influence an election.
So this is why
I'm what's not tracking here.
I'm trying to. All right. The reason that I'm asking this question, right, is because here's the indictment. People, State of New York, Donald Trump, grand jury of the County of New York, in this indictment accuses the defendant of the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree in violation of Penal Law 175.10 committed, blah, blah, blah. Defendant in the County of New York elsewhere on February 14th, 2017, with intent to defraud, intent to commit another crime. The date, February 14th, 2017, is post-election. So trying to influence an election and in the crime that he committed happened after the election.
No,
I'm sorry, to try and
when it was completed. The completion of the crime occurred after the election.
I'm literally reading the indictment.
Right, that's the completion of those payments, of those 34 entries.
That's when the crime is going on. If the crime is still going on, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so Trump didn't commit the crime. This is what I'm wondering, right? And this is where I'm disgusted with this trial. Trump's crime in the indictment is listed. You can read it. Falsifying business records in the first degree. The defendant, on or about February 14, 2017, with intent to defraud and intent to commit another crime and aid and conceal the commission, blah, 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 right, is post-election. So how do you influence an election if you committed a crime?
Doesn't matter because he made the illegal payment to try and conceal it. He paid her after. That doesn't mean that the reason he did it wasn't to influence an election. So the reason he did the crime was to influence the election. Okay? Which makes it a felony.
Okay. So again,
it doesn't specify, well, if the election is complete, that would be absurd. Somebody would just like influence an election illegally and then cover it up like after, and then they would be absolved of the crime?
That's awesome.
That's what you're arguing.
That's awesome. No,
is that not what
that's your logic? That's your logic.
You're saying he should be absolved based on the timeline here. Date of February 2017.
Why
the election was complete, therefore election fraud didn't happen or shouldn't be prosecuted.
I don't think that it's anything other than a misdemeanor, right? This is not
explain why it's bumped up.
Okay. Can you explain to me how it is not a felony because David Pecker said that Donald Trump did this to try and influence an election?
David Pecker recanted a number of things that he said. Like this is your witness.
No, he didn't.
Not in his testimony.
No, not in his testimony. He testified that he met with Donald Trump and they established the catch and kill operation.
And were there any other people that he established a catch and kill operation with, or was Trump the only one?
So apparently they had been doing various different ones throughout the entirety of it. And as far as I know, it's only Trump, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't have anything to do. Other people being and doing criminal conduct has nothing to do with Donald Trump's criminal conduct. Donald Trump was in a room with David Pecker and he set this up.
I get it. You talk fast, right? But the deal that they did with Karen McDougal, right, was long before Trump became a politician.
You're not addressing what I'm saying then.
Sure I am. You're talking about catch and kill, which is not illegal, right?
Right.
You're talking about a billionaire businessman.
That's not what we're talking. I need you to listen, man. I need you because this is this is not even what we're arguing. The problem is Donald Trump is claiming I had no knowledge of anything going on, and David Pecker is saying I met with him, we set up the catch and kill. And he testified to this under oath, which implicates Donald Trump in establishing and being the criminal mastermind behind this, because he is the one that wanted this done. He was done at his direction, okay? He set up the catch and kill to influence the election, which is one of the predicate acts that elevate this into a felony. So we'll just focus on this predicate act, okay? So you can't bounce between them. Donald Trump was attempting to influence an election, correct?
That's your opinion. I'm going to argue a different set of facts. Go ahead.
That's not my opinion. That's what David Pecker testified to, correct? That's what Michael Cohen testified to. That's what Stormy Daniels testified to. And that's what Hope Hicks testified to, correct?
That's what they testified.
They testified. They testified that he was attempting to influence an election. Cool. In the statute you read, falsification of business records becomes a felony if you are attempting to influence an election. His names are on the checks. He can't say he didn't know about it because David Pecker testified that he set it up with him. In that instance, how did he not commit the crime? These guys would be trash at Clue. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not good. Kurt Cobain in the parlor with a shotgun. He's not even in the game. Nor was a shotgun.
So, well, I mean, so you're talking about Trump being a mastermind. Did you actually read Pecker's testimony?
You're claiming he recanted it. So did you?
This is what I'm asking you. No, because you just told me that Trump was the mastermind and he set this up with Pecker. However, Pecker, when he testified, said he was the one that was the mastermind of the catch and kill. So I'm trying to figure out if you've read the testimony.
It doesn't matter. It just matters that Donald Trump knew about it, that Donald Trump directed payment. And he testified that he set up the catch and kill with Donald Trump, which illustrates that he knew. And the reason it was set up was to influence the election. That's the whole question. It doesn't, what you just admitted to, by the way, it doesn't have to do with who the mastermind was. It has to do with whether or not Donald Trump knew about it and Donald Trump okayed it, which you just admitted that he did.
Yeah, because none of that's illegal. An NDA
and that's criminal. Yes, and that's criminal. Yes, it's not the question. They attempted to influence an election, which you just told me that they set up with David Pecker. You just admitted to that.
No.
And then you concealed it 34 times.
3-0 at this point?
Sure.
How many more times do I have to make this clear? The question is not, was the NDA illegal? The question is, did he attempt to influence an election, which is an aggravating factor in making this a felony? And the answer is yes. Clearly.
So when Trump had Hope Hicks hiding newspapers, why do you think that they were doing that? Which was ridiculous, but why do you think Trump had Hope Hicks hiding the newspaper that came to the House?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You do, because Trump had a wife.
What does that have to do?
Because Trump has a wife, and so you're sitting there saying that the only reason that this
she knew about that. If you listen to the Michael Cohen testimony, she knew about that and informed Michael early on in this.
Honestly,
who else testified? Wait, there was one other person that testified. It was Pecker. It was Pecker. Pecker testified that Donald Trump's concern had nothing to do with his wife. That's what Pecker testified to. That it had nothing to do with his wife, that it never came up in the conversation, that he was concerned about evangelical voters. That's what he was concerned about.
You have her text messages to Cohen the week the story broke.
Oh my goodness! Cohen, the reason I don't use his name is this is a guy who's just
you can't have it both ways. Either
you think a serial liar. What do you mean I can't have it both ways?
Do you think that he's a crook and he perjured himself? Did he lie about taking money from Donald Trump's company?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Then that would have been on reimbursement, which would have made it a felony.
Well, I don't think that Cohen ever faced a larceny charge.
Okay, but do you think he lied and didn't take that money, or he did take that money?
Well, he didn't come out and say he took it. Do
you think he lied and did not take that money? Or when he testified and said that he did, then he did take the money?
Yeah, when the facts were presented, he agreed to the facts at hand after he was caught.
Did he lie? I'm going to ask you one more time. Did he lie and not take that money? Or is he telling the truth and did take that money out of reimbursement?
Well, from what I understand, I'm going to say he did not lie and that he did steal the money.
Okay, which would make it a felony because that's out of reimbursement.
That means that Donald Trump knew about it.
Donald Trump did not know that Michael Cohen was stealing money.
Yes, he would not have known that. But if you're saying that Michael Cohen stole the right, but just track what I'm saying here, right? If Michael Cohen, saying he stole money and you believe that he stole money, that would mean that he stole it out of a reimbursement.
No, that's not what he stole it from.
Yes, because Donald Trump was alleging that it was a legal retainer fee.
No. Okay, so
Michael Cohen is saying,
facts are pretty good.
Michael Cohen, no, I'm not. Michael Cohen claims that he told Donald Trump that the amount that he owed him for a payment to a tech firm was $50,000 when it was actually $20,000, and he stole $30,000. The only way that makes sense is if Donald Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen, which means that Donald Trump knew about it, that it wasn't for a retainer, that it was for reimbursement, which would mean that Donald Trump knew what was going on. David Peck already testified to it. There's an audio recording. I don't know what you need, what more. It's just not going well for you. You just continually deny the fact that that Donald Trump and David Pecker were colluding to influence an election, and that Donald Trump signed off on these payments to conceal that.
All right. So anyway, I'll definitely look you up for my $100 when the appeals happen.
You just get beat up really bad here, and then you just give up, I guess.
I mean,
The word of the day is capitulate.
Capitulate. No, I'm absolutely floored at some of the stuff that you guys come up with. But
I look to never. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm never going to see you in here again. You're never going to pay me that money because you're never going to come back.
Well, I mean, that's just how you characterize people that you don't know. And I mean, I understand that's kind of just sort of where your side comes from. It's unfortunate, but I get it. You're probably younger than I am. You don't have an answer
more accurate
to what I've brought up. You don't have an answer to what I brought up about Donald
Which has
Trump
nothing to do with whether or not I have character.
I'm not sure.
No one made that accusation.
Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Trump,
you did. I won't see you in here when you owe me money. What are you trying to ascertain with that comment?
You won't be in here.
And again, you don't know me. So when I do, I hope you'll take as much time crediting my behavior as you've done discrediting.
I will absolutely do that. I will absolutely do that.
That would be phenomenal. I'll catch you guys on another round. You guys have been fun. I know you want to go get somebody else in here to head bash, which is cool.
All right.
You guys, it was a blast.
It's so pompous of you. You want us to praise you even when you are wrong.
Hey, I'm good, bud. Like education, it's free. Right? We had a fun time tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
It's a free one for you today.